All right, Legends Bar. You guys excited for some comedy? All right, I like that. Because as you've noticed, we're recording. We have a bit of a small group tonight, so I need you guys to help me and make it sound like there's like 80 people in here. So let's do it again. You guys ready for some comedy? Perfect. So how many couples in the audience? Are you guys a couple? How long you been together?
47 years.
Holy shit. Give it up for them and buy them some drinks. 47 years. I can make it like 5 minutes. That's about it. All right, guys. But that's enough of me. You guys want to see the real comedian. So I want you guys to put together for one of our local favorites. He's been a friend of mine for almost a decade now. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Put your hands together for Dan Fraley.
Keep going for Gina. That was kind of sad. Yeah. No, I assure you, if you've been friends with me for about a decade, it's sad, isn't it, Jake? All right. Yeah, Jake knows. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name's Dan Fraley. I'm from a small town. I always start these out with a little bit about myself. I'm from a small town. I'm from a little town called McGuffey. You ever heard of it? No, you haven't. 2 people have heard of it. That's about right. McGuffey's less than 500 people. It's technically a village. But you can't, when you look like me, you can't say things like my home village, because it sounds like something you hear in a nature documentary. Back in my home village, before the white man. Like, you can't say that. I look like the kind of guy who would go into the village, and it just gets bad from there. The worst thing about McGuffey is not that everyone knows everyone's business. It's not even that you have to do an Ancestry.com search to make sure you're not doing terrible things with your prom date. It's not that. The worst thing about McGuffey is, and I'm 100% true on this, North Street and South Street intersect. I don't care. Don't think about that for too long, or blood will shoot out your nose. It doesn't make any sense. They built South Street, and it runs east to west, and then they built another road that intersects it at a complete right angle. And they could have called that anything in the world. They could have called it Main Street, Columbus Street. They could have called it Street Street. It would have made more sense than them to go, let's call it North Street. And when they did, they went, oh, they're in charge. Oh, we're getting the hell out of here. That's why there's 500 people. Yeah. I deal with things now. I live in Lima now for about 6 years. I deal with things in Lima I have not dealt with before, and I had some adjustments. For instance, a couple years ago, I'm leaving a show just quite like this one. I'm driving out by Lima Senior. It is about midnight. And I look to my left, and I see the following scenario, and I know nothing about it but these 2 facts. I look over, there's a kid. I say kid because he's 16, 17 years old at the most. I'm in my early 30s. That's a kid. He is shirtless, and he's carrying a hammer. And that's all I know of this scenario. And in my head, I'm trying to run scenarios that don't end with the phrase, we, the jury, find the defendant, and I can't. This guy isn't doing a summer job. He isn't doing some midnight roofing. He isn't white trash Thor. This kid is going to or from a crime scene. That much is clear. But I'm driving a car, and I look over at him, and he looks at me, and I'm in a car. I'm going 35 miles an hour. He's not going to catch me. He can't do anything. And in the period of time I'm in his field of vision, I look to the left to see him. He looks to the right to see me, and we lock eyes. And I'm thinking, great. Now I'm either a victim or a witness. And in this case, witness also means victim. But I'm thinking, hey, I'm in a car. I'm on 35 miles per hour. He can't catch me on foot, and God help me if he can. I get to a red light. Son of a bitch. I check all my mirrors, and then I look up, and I see a red light camera. Now, if you don't know how a red light camera works, if you go over the line, it takes a picture, and then it sends you a picture and a demand for money later on. So I'm thinking, worst case scenario, I'm a little over the line, and the police have pictures of my murder, which they then send to my parents and demand money. So now I'm dead, and I owe the state of Ohio $85. That's a double whammy. Encountered another one the other day. I'm going to work. This was years ago. The other day I'm going through work, and I find this one. I'm right by the Lima Senior, don't know what's going on down there. And there's a woman. She's carrying a refrigerator door. Just a refrigerator door. And she seemed very happy about it. And again, I'm running scenarios. What could this be? Was it a breakup and she decided she's going to be insanely petty? Like, the time it took to unscrew it from the hinges, take the stuff out of the door. There was nothing in it. She took all the condiments out, put them back in the freezer, the fridge, and just took the door. Or was she going to the scrapyard and she was very optimistic? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not used to this town. I'm still getting used to it. Little more about me. My dad's still with me. My dad's a little older. My dad was 42 years old when I was born. Yeah, I'm 34 right now. My dad's 76, which makes my grandparents dead. That's what it makes them. Like, I love my grandmother. I love her. But if she were alive today, she'd be 114 years old. There's no need for that. Like, after you hit 100, you're just hitting the snooze button on life at that point. Come on, save some life for the rest of us, lady. Come on. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. My dad's one of 10 kids because my grandmother never got headaches. And then again, maybe she did. Maybe that's why there's only 10, you know? I mean, I could have 24 aunts and uncles right now. I don't know. It's like, I know it's 1945, but come on. Seriously. I need rest. My dad, I don't have any bad stories about my dad. He didn't run off on us. He didn't beat me. Nothing bad about him. But growing up, my dad was like Bigfoot. We had heard he existed. There were rumors he lived among us. And for a while, all we had of him were a blurry photograph of him walking out the door on his way to work. My mom was convinced it was him. I was skeptical. But you look how he walks. Mom, that could be a guy in a suit. We need to be open to that. I've done a lot of things. I now deliver old people for a living. I work for St. Rita's. I do. That's what I'm an old person delivery person. That's all I do. Like, it's like a pizza delivery job, only you have to be insanely more careful. And no one wants what you're delivering. Like, hey, did you order an 89-year-old with a heart problem? No? And then you just wheel them in and run, you know? I'm kidding. I don't ask. All right? But one of my old jobs, I used to be a substitute teacher. Yeah, it's fun. You know what it's like being a substitute teacher? Think of a child you've been around, a little child who just does something that annoys the crap out of you. They just pick, and they pick, and they pick, and they pick, and they just annoy you to the point. Now, imagine you can't hit them. Now, multiply that by 40. That's being a substitute teacher. Man. I can't remember my order. What's wrong with me? Did you know the rapper C. Murder is currently serving a life sentence for actually committing murder? Anyone see that coming? Anyone else? Maybe if his name was C. Manslaughter, he'd be able to drop an album in 5 to 10. I'm just saying, C. Murder. If you get accused of a crime and your name's C. Murder, you did it. I don't care. You get a trial. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, we intend to prove today that the defendant, C. Murder, committed murder. I rest my case. 5 minutes. Defense is like, I'm not even standing up. Screw this. Oh my goodness. But you learn a lot from names. You learn a lot about people. You can learn so much just by learning someone's name. There was a girl arrested years ago named Crystal Metheny, arrested for Xanax. I'm not saying you have to live up to your name, but if your name's Crystal Metheny and you're going to commit a crime and it's going to be drug related anyway, just save everybody some time. Or Edward Cocaine, who was arrested for marijuana because no one knows how to follow a pattern anymore. A bad one, of course, was a DUI in Florida. The guy's name was, honest to God, I double-checked this, the guy's name was Donald Duck. What do you learn from that? Here's what I learned. His parents hated him. Because if you're a grown man, if you're a child, and your last name is Duck, there are only 3 names you cannot legally have. Donald, Daffy, Daisy. That's it. No one bats an eye at Jim Duck. They look at him and like, oh yeah, well, I'm with that lunatic now? Yeah, your name's Donald Duck now. And that's why he drinks. The worst one has to be cherries, waffles, tennis. That's just naming things you know of at that point. That's like someone who's busy with a merger or is on cocaine. There's like cherries, waffles, tennis. I don't know. Just go. Just get me out of the room. I don't know. I think you know you really have a drinking problem when you spend a half hour at an ATM trying to get a 20 out and you realize it's a Coinstar. And then you wonder where you put your card. That's all I'm saying. The worst story I heard a story recently of a guy. He was a male prostitute who slept with 150 women. 150 men, my mistake. 150 men, yeah, that's a big distinction. That is a huge distinction. It is a huge, well, it gets better. He slept with 150 men as a male prostitute. Took a year off of sex and then realized, I'm straight. No, you're not. Listen, no one does anything accidentally 150 times. I don't care. No. You think about 25 in, he'd be like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't know. No, I don't know if I like, no. 150? No. No one does anything 150 times and then it only goes like, you know what? How about the opposite of that? No, screw you. I'll leave you with this one. A fun story I've heard. Every once in a while you'll see a story of somebody who goes to a restaurant, to the drive-thru, and in addition to the food they order, they also get a bag of marijuana that they do not. You'd be amazed at how many of these happen at a KFC. I don't make it up, it happens. So all other restaurants are trying to keep them out, and KFC is hiring them to management. That's all I'm saying. But McDonald's is catching up, though. A couple years ago, a guy in Philadelphia working at a McDonald's, a cook at McDonald's, got caught with 187 bags of crack that he had on him at the time. Turns out he was making $1,500 a week just selling crack. Which begs the question, why is he still working at McDonald's? If you're making $1,500 a week selling crack, you need to, and you work at McDonald's, you need to stop one of those things. I don't care which one, but you need to solve your shit. That's all I'm saying. Was there something about selling crack that really wasn't getting the culinary fix? What was going on there? But here's the thing, though. Either one that he quits, he has a story to tell. If he's working at McDonald's, if he's doing with the crack buddies, they're like, wow, we got screwed up that deal. It's like, yeah, but I used to work at McDonald's. Or he's working at McDonald's and they go, wow, the lunch price is horrible. It's like, yeah, that's okay, but I sell crack. Like, either one, that's a great story to tell. I'll tell you. I'll finish with this one. I've been doing this one for a while, so I'll just finish with this one. A little about myself. During his lifetime, and bear with me on this one, Adolf Hitler was romantically involved with 6 different women. Hitler, 6 women. I'm 34 years old, and I've been romantically involved with 4. So for those of you keeping track at home, that means that I am statistically less desirable to women than Hitler. That ruins your day pretty fucking fast. But it also tells you something. Very rarely in your life do you say things like, I'm good, but I'm no Hitler. My name's Dan Fraley. Thank you very much.
Keep going.
Oh, turn it off.
Keep going for Dan. Turn off Mike Fraley. You guys having a good time?
Yeah.
Woo! Are we drinking? I can't see you, so I need to hear you. Are we drinking?
Yeah.
Just a little? Whose brother's here? Someone's brother's here. Someone's brother's here. Someone's got explaining to do. All right, guys. Well, don't forget, we got Mark behind the bar slinging the drinks. Say hi to Mark, everybody. I can't see you. You might not be back there. I'm sorry if you're not.
He's actually at the bar.
Oh, good. Oh.
Either way.
Oh, well.
The bar is involved.
Hey, not my place. I don't mind. All right, guys. You guys ready for your next comic? Any more than that? You guys ready for your next comic?
Yeah.
Keep my energy level up. Those guys, put your hands together for the one and only Kolin Brun.
You guys shouldn't be clapping for me. Fuck. Oh, man. I, like a responsible adult, got drunk before I came here. So that's a thing that I got going on. Guys, big event in my life. Last week I turned 30. Like You know I'm not old, but like I'm growing up. You guys ever see the youth fade from someone right before your eyes? Because you're seeing it right now. Guys, I'm crushing life right now. I now exclusively wear pants with the drawstring on them. And the doctor said I'm not allowed to wear laces in my shoes anymore because I am a threat to myself. Seriously, comedy is going so good that next week Speedway is naming a section of the roller grill after me. So that's, yeah. Pick up your Kolin Brun hot dogs, baby. It just tastes like hot dogs and tears. It's a thing. I know what some of you guys are thinking when you look at me, and I completely understand. I know that I look like Wayne fucked Garth, all right? I know that, baby. Anyways, I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Kolin Brun. I sleep in a race car bed because my life is fast as fuck. Finger guns, baby, bringing them back. Seriously, I did get drunk before this. I've been playing pinball all day at your fine establishment. I enjoy coming to this town, mainly your strip club. I really enjoy your strip club. It's the only strip club I've ever left with more money than I came in with. That's 100% true. I sold those strippers weed. What can I say? Anyways, most of my life people have mispronounced my name and called me Kolin, but it's usually those guys that are the biggest assholes. Did you guys know that if you go into the bathroom at Wendy's, turn off all the lights, look into the mirror, and say, "Where's the beef?" 3 times, the ghost of Dave Thomas appears and shows you his dick? And you guys, that's technically sexual assault, all right? It's 2019. We need to put a stop to this. He's a fucking monster, even from beyond the grave. I was named after a hockey player back in '89. My dad and my uncle were watching hockey, getting pissed drunk, like white trash likes to do. Fight broke out. My dad staggering around like, "All right, Mike, whoever wins this fight, that's going to be the name of my boy." This dude, Colin Patterson, beats the fucking brakes off this dude. My dad's jumping for joy like, "That's my boy! That's my boy!" So I'm basically named after a tough guy, which is hilarious if you know me, because I'm a huge pussy. So if you don't like the cut of my jib and you want to fight after the show, you'll win. I'm not even supposed to be on this show tonight. I was passing through town. I got asked to hop on. I'm actually in town for a festival, so if you guys like what you see, you can catch me tomorrow night at Red Lobster for Crab Fest, where I will be doing my entire set against the wishes of the patrons and the staff. And I'll be getting paid those sweet cheddar bay biscuits. Holler at your boy. Recent achievements for me include finding a hidden cup of pudding in the back of my fridge. And I was recently recognized in a gas station in Decatur, Indiana for doing stand-up. The first time I've been recognized in a gas station without the words bathroom, glory, and hole all being strung together in the same sentence. Net gain. Net gain for me is what I'm saying. I live in Sydney, and I don't want to brag, you guys, but I'm a little bit of a local celebrity where I come from. I was the guy that was most recently featured on those Amber Alerts. Great publicity. What happened was I was out driving around one day and I got pulled over and arrested. They brought me to an interrogation room where I sat for several hours. When I finally got to talk to somebody, they told me I was being released. I asked a couple questions. I was curious. They said, "Well, Mr. Brun, we're sorry about this. Turns out this is a case of mistaken identity. Turns out that you fit the description of a chubby lesbian that we were looking for." And I was clean shaven at the time. And when I shave, I look like Rosie O'Donnell's fatter, younger sister. That shit's like a Metallica song. Sad but true. Oh, God, this, you know what? I know how to read a crowd, and, this joke isn't gonna go well. Where I live, I used to run a show. The first one I ever did, I went out to go get a drink, and I came back in, and one of my friends I thought was heckling the comedian. He actually wasn't. I came up to him and asked him to be quiet. Instead of telling me he wasn't heckling the fucking comedian, he poured an entire beer on my head. Luckily for me, I was wearing my lucky Wu-Tang hat, and all the beer mushroomed off me and got everybody else at his table wet, which just goes to show that old saying is true. The Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, am I right? Wu-Tang hats, protect your neck. These people laughed. I'm fucking shocked at that. I did not. Hey, good for you. Good. You're progressive living in Lima. That's fucking awesome. You guys, I'm sure you can tell by looking at me, a little bit of a poon hound. No, you guys are saying, Colin, anybody that uses the term poon hound surely isn't getting any poon. Correct. Maybe it has something to do with these next sad truths about my life. And again, I can read a room, but I just want to do this. When I bring a lady back to my house and show her where the magic happens, I'm talking about where I play Magic the Gathering. And then I try to tap that ass for 2 mana. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, you guys know the first reference, not the second one. I'm separating the casuals from the hardcores. That's what I'm doing with it. I had the pleasure of playing a game called Black Ops 3 with a gentleman by the name of Crack Maniac 32. A couple of things about that really bothered me. I wasn't so sure why he was so expressive of his love of crack cocaine over the PlayStation Network. And why were there 31 other crack maniacs? You know something, guys? I don't think any of those guys were true crack maniacs. A true crack maniac would have sold his PlayStation long before he created a screen name. Not going to do that, because, again, I can read a room. That's just too long to do. Where I live, I work in a smoke/sex shop, or as we affectionately call it, the bong and dong. I have a lot of people who come in and ask for gag gifts, which are really just blow-up dolls for them to fuck. They never want to buy the funny joke one. They never want to buy the old lady, which I swear on my life is called the Goo Goblin Granny. They never want to buy that one. They're always like, oh yeah, give me the hot chick and a bottle of the jerk-off lotion, man. I'm going to prank him so good. All right, bro. First off, you are not pranking, all right? You're spanking. We know what you're doing. There's no shame in this. We don't care that you're going home to fuck a beach ball, okay? We don't care. I think the weirdest part about my job is the staggering amount of people that call me sir. It's like, bro, I just sold you a butt plug that was shaped like a pig's tail, all right? We can drop the formalities and dial this back just a little bit. This is not a sir conversation. Look at me, Lima. I'm like a dude at best. I sold some weird things at my store, though. I've sold every variation of blow-up animal that you can imagine. Sheep, pig, cow. And the cow was fun because when you tilted it back and went, it was fucking great. The weirdest one, though, was called the Alien Love Doll with 12 out-of-this-world holes. And, you know, it had the front, the back, the mouth, you know, the classics, tried and true, you know, we all know. And then it just got weird. It was like eyes and fucking ears. And then, oddly enough, it had a 3-pronged hand. Each hand had a little 3-pronged claw. I'm glad to tell you guys that you could fuck each and every one of those fingers, baby. You could fuck this doll more ways than the government could fuck you, is what I'm saying. Ooh, oddly political, Colin. That was weird. Like to binge watch a lot of things. Of course I do. Look at me. What else am I doing with my life? Most recently, I finished Pornhub. Look, I don't know if you guys are watching this shit or not, but let me tell you something. Season 3 gets really, really good, you guys. There's a lot of great character development in Season 3. I think the thing that bugs me the most about that website, though, is that on every video you watch, there's little buttons to share it to different social media. Who the fuck does that? My friends don't need to know what my favorite movie in the Toe Bangers series is. It's Toe Bangers 2, For Whom the Bell Toes. I'm not gonna fucking tell them that. I feel way more comfortable telling a group of strangers in a bar in Lima that than I do my friends. Oh God, I want to direct a porno called The Little Bang Theory. It's about midgets who fuck. You ever think something's so goddamn funny in your head and you say it out loud and you just realize it isn't? I like heavy metal. I want to start an 80s hair metal tribute band called Hairspray and Heroin. We play fucking dope power ballads. You walk into one of our shows and everybody's holding up lighters. You look up a little bit more and you realize they're all cooking spoons over it. When people find out I'm a comedian, they're like, hey, why don't you tell me a joke, Mr. Funny Man? I don't know, why don't you fucking ask Stephen King to write you 2 chapters of Pet Sematary when you see him out in public? And why does Stephen King always pose sexy in doorways on the back cover of his books? Who is he trying to seduce? Didn't you learn anything from Misery? This is a Misery crowd, I like it. You guys fucking read the book and saw the movie. So I'm sure you guys can't tell by looking at me, but one of my great passions in life is writing erotic cookbooks. Recently finished a guest chapter for the new book Intercourses. Shortly after, I finished my own book, 50 Shades of Grey, V. Yeah, bestseller. It's Oprah's book club this month. Okay. I want to do something new that I've been thinking of the last couple days.
Do it.
These days I still skateboard. Of course I do. But I'm like the old guy at the skate park now. Like I'm the old man and I have to like teach kids things about the world, but not like things that you should know. I'm teaching them weird shit, like the time Rick James kidnapped that bitch and put crack pipes out on her back in '93. Like, that's a real thing that happened. That's a very real thing that happened. But the other day, Tuesday, for real, I had a 13-year-old at the skate park try to fight me. Because he was throwing a football in a crowded skate park of about 40 people. So, I asked him to be, he said, fuck you, old man, fuck you. And okay. So at the end of the day, I'm telling this story to some friends, and the kid walks back, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's the kid right there. And he's like, fuck you, old man, you're 30 years old, whatever. Come out of the grass and catch my fade. And I just looked at him and was like, bro, I am 30. Do you get it? Like, it's not going to happen. And he was punting that ball around, so I just, cut into him. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to hear your shit. The NFL doesn't want you with those weak-ass 1.5-second hang time punts. Get the fuck out of my face. I fucked that all up, but, it is what it is. If you guys would like to talk to me after the show, I will be very unpleasant. I've got CDs for sale, not of my comedy, but I went a little overboard back in 8th grade, and now I'm stuck with a spindle of Memorex CDs labeled Colin's Boner Jams with a Z. So if y'all could come out to my windowless van after the show, I'll give you a real sweet deal on 7 of them. Anyways, my name is Colin. Thank you so much.
Keep going, Colin Brun, everybody! You guys doing good? You guys need another drink? I need another drink. Someone please buy me a drink.
What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking, because I'm a girly girl, I'm drinking strawberry Smirnoff. Unless somebody knows a really good mixed drink, because I'm shitty as fuck at alcohol. So, you guys having a good time again? I gotta keep you guys up. We've tripled in size, so give it up for everybody that doesn't know how to get here on time. You scared the shit out of us. him. We love Legends, right? Give it up for Legends. Come on, guys. Give it up for Legends. Woo! And give it up for our next comic, the one and only Jake Hill.
Honestly, I don't know what the hell we just listened to. Oh my Lord. Kolin, I love you, but you are living proof that some people should be a blowjob. I started off with I love you. It seems fair. So I grew up in Lima. Not surprising to a lot of people, especially when you hear the accent. I did grow up in a trailer park. Just making that one clear. There's a lot of things that confuse me when people talk about trailer parks because they always use the same phrase. You guys know what it is. Trailer trash. Which I think is bullshit. Because everybody that grew up in a trailer park knows there's only two kinds of houses. Alright? Well, there's three kinds of houses, two kinds of families. But you got the one that's the trailer trash, and you know it because you know their kids grew up that their nightlight was the cops' sirens. Then you had what I like to call dim sum bitches. And yes, that's the fancy house that when they got evicted, loaded all their shit in the back of an Escalade. Never understood that part. But it was weird because like people always used to call me trailer trash. And it's like, that's not fair. I mean, my babysitter did get arrested for cooking meth while babysitting us. So that's a very weird thing. So you're going to understand my comedy a little bit. A lot of things have gone on in my life. I got married. Thanks for not clapping. Because I did also get divorced. Oh, fuck you too. Who cheers for divorce? Joe, just because we're sleeping together doesn't mean you get to cheer. I'm kidding. But no, divorce is a really weird thing. I like to tell people that are married, if you really want to find out what your significant other really feels about you, tell them you want a divorce. It turns out they will tell you. She took everything. She left me one thing. Okay, so I am 31 years old. I have no money, but here's the thing that, to quote my lawyer, I won in the divorce, is a minivan. Yes, I am a single man driving a minivan. The only kind of woman I can pick up is a woman with 6 kids that have to get all the kids to soccer practice. That's it. I did get back into dating, which it's fucking weird. Because I didn't do it good the first time. Like, obviously I'm divorced. I had a lot of weird experiences. I did learn certain things, but like communication. Communication is a very big thing in a relationship. Had a incident, told the girl I was into weird stuff, which is a weird thing to say after Colin's set, but normally that doesn't happen before my set. But what I meant was like, I'm into pro wrestling and like comic books. She thought it meant that I wanted to be stabbed during sex. Turns out when you're in the emergency room because of a sex accident, you don't have to have the "it's not you, it's me." You get to have the "no bitch, it's you," which is actually fantastic because you actually don't have to have the conversation with her. You get to let the cop do it. So that's kind of nice. Obviously with what I've been saying, I was always, growing up, I was that kid that just weird shit would happen to. Like, it got to the point that the person that, when you heard a story about them, no matter how crazy the story was, you went, that sounds about right. I'll put it this way, one of the best dates I ever went on in my entire life was with a hooker. Oh.
All I heard out of the audience was, ooh. I like that response. No, it was weird. I was driving and saw a woman on the side of the road sitting on her car. So like a gentleman, I stopped and asked if she wanted a ride. So she hopped in my minivan, right? Reached over, grabbed my dick and said, okay, you're not a cop. Most people usually start with, hi, my name is, but okay. Then she said, okay, it's $60 for this, $80 for this, and $100 without a condom. Oh, no. So I did what any proper gentleman would do. I took her to dinner, then fucked her. Here's a trick that we're going to learn at Legends tonight. If you take her to dinner first, it's not soliciting a prostitute. You're welcome. What?
I said no more charges.
Right? This guy knows. I don't want to know how, but he knows.
He slept with a prostitute.
But he wasn't charged. Right? This shit got so weird on that. That guy was so proud of it, too. He was like, can't get charged! Hell yeah! Oh, shit. Here's a weird part of my life. I grew up, my dad was a cop, which is really funny because a lot of people think that I look like a narc. I'm not. But it was always kind of funny because I always seemed to get invited to parties. Because I always knew the cop when the cops showed up to bust the party. It was funny the first time it happened, I was at a party and the cops showed up and everybody was like, oh shit, it's the cops. I walked outside, I was like, hey! He had dinner in my house earlier. What the hell do you mean I'm under arrest? God damn it, Dad, don't do that. I did recently, I heard a story that I never thought of it in my entire life, but it's just too damn funny not to share. But growing up, my dad used to pick us up from school in the cop car, which, gives you a wonderful reputation, because I went to a Catholic school, so pretty much everybody went, oh, damn it, Jake's getting arrested again. But that's not the most awkward, because I recently found out, growing up, one of my best friends was a black friend, and we used to. My dad used to drive them home as well. What? Okay, so this is the weird situation. All right, so I never thought of this in my entire life, but recently he got married, and his mom was sharing this little tidbit that none of us had ever thought about, because. They lived in a really rich neighborhood because they were both doctors and everything. And she was talking. She goes, do you know how many questions I had to answer when the kids were young? Oh, well, why? Because my kids got dropped off after school every day in a cop car. Every single day. They had rich doctors walking out going, the only black family in the neighborhood's got a cop car in front of their house again. We honestly had never thought about it. Like, growing up, we just had never thought about it. She said it, and it's just like, oh my God. We literally made an entire neighborhood feel racist. That's crazy. I realize I'm random as hell. Just fair warning. I'm going to bounce around like crazy. But, I talked earlier about dating. Had a weird experience one time. I was with a buddy drinking beer, and had the girl I was dating at the time. She showed up, grabbed a beer out of the cooler, and drank the beer down. And then she said, I think we should see other people. And then she left. And I sat down, and I started crying. My my buddy, being a good buddy, comes over and he says, buddy, there's more fish in the sea. I said, that ain't the problem. There ain't no more beer in the damn cooler. Yeah, that's a problem to have. But I do have a wonderful 2.5-year-old. May God have mercy on that kid's soul. But it's funny, I just finally hit the terrible twos, which is wonderful when you hit the terrible twos, because you finally, especially if you're in a divorce, because you finally get to see your ex-wife and your kids. Was drinking the other night, and my son looked at me and he goes, Dada, why you drink so much? I said, have you met your mother? All right. I'm gonna end with this. I recently found out that I need to get a fucking new doctor, because I went in with a high anxiety issue. Like what I thought was gonna happen was like he was gonna be like, here's some Xanax and have a good day. Not what happened. My doctor said, well, sir, you have a high anxiety disorder. No shit. I said, well, what do I do? He goes, here's the thing. Just tell everyone that you've been medically diagnosed as an asshole. A doctor told me that I'm medically an asshole. That's fucking fantastic. So I'm going to end with this simple phrase. I'm Jake Hill. It's been fun, but I'm an asshole. You guys have a great night.
Keep going for Jake Hill. The other thing he couldn't think about is that it's really weird to say they were a black friend. All right, guys. You guys having a good time? You guys just showed up. How you doing?
What was here before?
You were here before? Well, you just came up front. Nice to see you guys. I'm glad you guys filling in. You're the only people I can see, so I'm sorry I'm picking on you. All right, guys. Everybody, one more time. Give it up for Legends. Woo! Yeah! Give it up for yourselves. You guys are a great audience. Bunch of good-looking people. Yeah.
You can only see 2 of them.
Well, they're a bunch of good-looking people. Yeah, that was really bad, wasn't it? Anyways, I'm going to get back into continuity, and I'm going to bring up our next comic. Put your hands together for Joseph Jackson! Yeah!
Keep it going for Gina. Yeah. I mean, mostly for me, a little bit for Gina. How are you guys doing tonight? Good? All right. So, let me adjust this shit. It's weird how they didn't know I was a midget. I mean, I've been standing back there for like an hour. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I'm like, can I see you? No, I can't see you. This kind of shit, though, right here, like with the mic up so high, you know, makes me furious with anger. Makes me want to whoop somebody's ass. But I'm little, so I can't. You know what I'm saying? I know you guys look at me and you're like, this dude, he can't whip nobody's ass, but I've never been beat in a fight. Ever. And I'm going to tell you guys why. And that's because my #1 fight move is this. Fetal position. Ass up in the air, sucking my thumb, crying. Like nobody wants to beat somebody up like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm 12-0, bitches. 12-0. Yeah, so coming to a place like this in Lima, I figure I'm going to run into a couple of people that I know, you know? And some of you guys might know my wife. Damn, I'm blinded. But for those of you guys that know my wife, other than fucking her, you know, I don't want to talk about that. But if you could keep this shit on the low, I'd appreciate that. Like, I'm not supposed to be here right now. I told her I was going to Bible study. Every time when I get home from doing one of these things, she asks me a whole bunch of questions. Kind of makes me feel like I'm going to be going down for a crime, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm being interrogated. And one of those questions that she always asks me is, what kind of Bible study do you go to where they serve alcohol? I'm like, calm down, lady. Don't you know we're Catholic? So running into people, familiar faces that you haven't seen in a while, sometimes can be a good thing and sometimes it can be a bad thing. Like picture this, you see somebody from school that you haven't seen for 20 years. You didn't really like them to begin with. It's the same shit. They're like, hey man, what's up? You're like, what's up, dude? They're like, you got a family? Yeah, I got a family. You got a family? Yeah. And then they do this. It's every time. They're like, looks like marriage is treating you good. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Isn't that just like a polite way of telling me that I'm fat? You know what I'm saying? And the bigger dilemma that I have with that situation is my wife don't even cook. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing this shit all by myself. I haven't learned to back up from the table. So sometimes I get up here, I get nervous when I do these things. Sometimes I pee a little. The peeing that I do isn't necessarily because I'm nervous. It's more like because the older I get, the less control I have on my downstairs area. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, it takes a hell of a can-do attitude and elbow grease, you know what I'm saying? So, like, earlier today I was telling one of my dudes I was coming up here to do this show, and I was letting him know how nervous I was, and he was just like, yeah, dude, you know, I've been nervous before, and I explained to him a little more details, you know, no, see, dude, I'm going to do some comedy. It's a little bit different from your average nervous, like when the cops are behind you or something, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, well, that kind of reminds me, like, you know, like when I'm on a first date or something. You know, I get nervous. You don't quite know if you're going to hook up with somebody or not. You know what I'm saying? And he said to relieve his nervousness, what he normally does is he just rubs one out. That's masturbation, in case you guys didn't catch that shit. So I'm thinking to myself, that really doesn't quite fit this situation. But fuck, I took his advice anyway. So now I'm nervous, and I'm tired. I'm kind of looking forward to taking a nap in a little while. So, we got married couples, right? Yeah, I heard somebody. Is anybody in a relationship where shit just doesn't work out? Like it doesn't matter how good you are, you're always getting shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody? I can't see any hands because I'm blinded. Well, that's the kind of relationship that I'm in, right? I'm going to give you an example. So one night, my wife, she's like, you know, what we should do this Christmas season a few months ago, she was like, we should, you know, find a family who's a little bit hard up and help them out, right? That's a good deed, right? You guys do that shit. Well, we're good people, too. When most people are looking, we are. So we decided to go ahead and, you know, help a family out and shit. So we did the thing, got them some gifts, some food and shit, made me feel good on the inside. Then that got me thinking, I'm like, hey, with my dudes, I'm like, we should do that shit too, you know, kind of get together, find another family. So I found this single woman. She's got 2 kids, you know, struggling. So I helped her out with her Christmas. I mean, so what? I'm throwing like 1s and 5s to her at the strip club, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit shouldn't matter, you know? But I'm always fucking up with this one, you know what I'm saying? But it's all about the kids, right? I mean, that's what it's about when you do that kind of shit. It's about the kids. And I'm guessing because I want to say looking at the crowd, but I can't see your asses. But you're so old, I'm guessing somebody has kids, right? Kids? Everybody has kids in here? All right. Sorry about that. Well, I have kids too, and because I wanted to be broke and miserable my whole entire life, I chase those sons of bitches apart. You know, I got 24, 19, and 10. But that's the kind of shit I do, you know. That's me just making all my bad decisions and shit. So, it sort of sounds horrible when I say those things about my kids, you know. I mean, it's not like I don't like them. I like them a little bit. I won't say that the thought hasn't crossed my mind where I wanted to sell them on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So really why I say these things is because I like to be honest with people. You know what I'm saying? People say the best thing to do is be honest. Am I right? Like, you think it's good to be honest? You guys think it's good to be honest? Yeah. I'm not quite so sure. Like, I hate when I run into somebody and it's just like, man, you know, my kids, they're my everything. You know, my little Billy, you know, he's just like me. You know, he's good at athletics and shit. And you can tell by looking at me, I'm not. So I'm just like, fuck you, dude. Or Stacy, you know, Stacy, she's the apple of my eye. I call my kids the reason why I stayed. And I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on being honest, because I don't believe you can be honest. Not all the time, not like in every situation. I'm going to take a sip because my mouth is dry. Like, picture this shit, right? I'm on Tinder. Which is weird because I'm married. Trying to get it somewhere. So, like, I'm on a first date with some lady and I just don't fit. I know you guys are like, oh, it's a lady? No, seriously, it's a lady. It's not a guy. But, like, I don't think that when I'm on this first date with a woman, like, I can lead with shit like, you know, I have low self-esteem, shitty credit score, and a tiny penis. Calm down, lady. That's just some shit you really can't lead with, you know what I mean? Now, if you're trying to get laid today, now out of those three things that I just mentioned, low self-esteem, a shitty credit score, and a tiny penis. Now, when I say tiny, I want you to know I mean tiny, not like white guy tiny, like Asian dude tiny. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of those three things, which one of those things do you think a woman cannot deal with?
Bad credit.
Bad credit. This dude knows. He's like, yeah, seriously. But it's true, because with good credit, you could buy a bigger dick. You know what I'm saying? So once again, I'm going to ask a couple questions. Here we go. Married people, holler. All right. Single people, holler. All right, how about divorced people? You hear that? How that crowd's just a little bit louder? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're excited about life again. Kind of makes you question your current situation. You know, like, is the grass really greener on the other side? Maybe. Another thing that'll make you question is you'll start going through shit. Like, you'll make a calculation for yourself. You'll say, well, I've been married to this woman for this long. We have this many kids. I make this amount of money. Ah, fuck, it's going to cost me this much in child support payments. It's going to cost me this much in alimony payments. And that shit right there, that's enough to make you spin your head back around and be like, fuck it. I can stick this shit out. So not that marriage is all bad. I mean, it's good, right? It's got pluses and minuses, like most situations. Like, here's a plus about being married. You got somebody to come home to all the time. You know, they're there for you, support you and shit. The minus thing to that is those fuckers are there all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the time. Like, you can't escape that shit, not without causing a dilemma or something. So another plus to being married, you should calm down. You got somebody to do your laundry for you, right? Brown stains and all, am I right, fellas? Speaking about that note, like, don't you think Haynes should should have caught on by now. Like, don't you think they should sell brown underwear? I mean, they might start off white, but they end up brown. Let's skip a step, you know what I'm saying? And here's another good thing about marriage, right? You can ask for sex without the fear of rejection, but then you don't have sex because of the rejection. I mean, I don't want to act like my wife never puts out. I mean, she does sometimes when the planets align in some kind of significant order. It's always excluding Uranus. You know what I'm saying? The wind's got to be coming in from the north at approximately 8 to 10 miles an hour. Got to have a double rainbow. And of course, I don't have all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So what I do at that moment is I just go ahead and drop a couple roofies in her drink. Oh. I mean, no harm, no foul, right? So that doesn't work. She still don't put out. Then I got to use those roofies on myself. If you ever had to use roofies on yourself just to make out with yourself, it puts a couple things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know then at that moment, fuck, you're ugly, dude. You know, and on that note, like, I've kind of accepted the fact that I'm ugly. You know? Like, I know you guys look at me, you're like, oh, shit, he probably just threw that shit together. And I didn't. Like, this shit took effort. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it did. Like, I wandered around the kids section for like 2 fucking hours just trying to find a shirt that didn't have some kind of cartoon character on it. And although I'm in the kids section, I got little kids coming up to me like, hey, mommy, I'm almost as tall as him. I'm like, fuck you, little asshole. You can't really say that. Like, you can't say you're almost as tall as me. What you can say is that you're almost equally as short as I am tall. You know what I'm saying? So, another thing, like, to keep this shit going, this haircut, it's fancy. I go to the barber. I pay for it. You're like, oh, that's a fucking surprise right there. But I do, I pay for it. I go in there and I'm like, hey, can you hook me up with like a middle-aged guy who gave up on life? Bam! They fucking get it every time. You know what I'm saying? And look at this weird-ass displacement of hair that I have on my face. You can't really call it a beard because it's not. But I do it, I keep it there because I like to keep people guessing. You're like, oh, what the fuck is he? I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's going to offer to do my landscaping or steal my hubcaps. And sometimes I run into people who are like, fuck, does he have a bomb? I mean, these people are so confused, they don't know whether they should call the Border Patrol or like the FBI terrorist team. You know what I'm saying? So like I was saying a bit ago, like I use these roofies on my wife sometimes. Every day. So then that means I use them on myself every day. And when you do that to yourself, it kind of makes you feel awkward. You know, kind of makes you question yourself a little bit. Like you wake up and my asshole's sore. I'm a little bit ashamed about what the hell I just did. You know? Kind of makes me ask myself a couple more questions like, Did I just rape myself? I'm not sure. Certainly it wasn't consensual. Shit, I just ate a fistful of pills. You know what I'm saying? And then that makes me ask myself other questions like, should I call the cops? And you can tell by looking at me, I don't call the cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't survive in jail. You know what I'm saying? One thing I did in jail a lot when I was there was this. Some of you guys are probably thinking I did that shit for fun, but I didn't. It was more like for cigarettes. Although I haven't smoked in years, since 1994, but I've been there a few times. You get what I'm saying, right? I do that shit for fun. So I'm going to end on this joke, right? So when I was in jail, my mom, she used to come up, God bless her soul, you know, she used to come up, and at that time you could put money on a particular something. You know, you could put money and buy things. You guys know what that's called? Commissary, you criminal motherfucker. Hell yeah, I know. So my mom, she would come up. She was never into buying name brand shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Like some of you guys, you probably eat crap, macaroni and cheese. My mom would buy, or she would feed us shit. It was called Shut the Fuck Up and Eat It. It wasn't quite as delicious. So one other thing that my mom bought me when I was in jail was called soap on the floor. You guys ever heard of that? It's kind of like soap on a rope, but a little bit different. It's a big old bar of soap with 4 suction cups on the back of it. It's a big motherfucker, like I wasn't going to drop it. I still don't understand her humor now, and that's been many, many, many years ago, and my asshole was still sore. Give it up, guys. Thanks. That's it from me.
Woo! Keep it going for Joe Jackson.
Yeah!
All right, guys. We are at that time of the show. It is time for our headliner. I want you guys to stick around after the show for Acoustic Groove. They're going to be playing for you. Are you guys ready for your headliner?
Yeah!
Oh, come on, guys. Are you guys ready for your headliner? I saw him doing some stretches in the back, so I think it's going to be really good. I want you guys to put your hands together for Chris, the Bitter Dude Ketler.
Thank you. All right, how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good to hear. Get this out of the way and stuff. So let's just take a minute right now just to dress the room. I see you guys checking me out. You're like, what the hell's going on? Did Gina find this guy wandering around the parking lot after a Grateful Dead concert? Right. So I had to talk to my girlfriend tonight before I left the house. I had to tell her she drew her eyebrows on too high. She looked shocked. When I came out here, Gina said, Chris, you can come out, you can do 25 minutes. I said, 25 minutes? Wow, that's a lot of time, 25 minutes. So I'm just going to do some of these jokes twice. Let's see. Actually, working a lot of new stuff tonight, so let's see. Wow. I'm trying to figure out about women. I just don't get women anymore. So I asked Alexa, one of those smart things we got on Alexa, what do women want? I left the house today, the damn thing was still talking. I don't know. I hate a lot of things in life, really. I'm not a happy guy. I just am not happy. I don't like a lot of things. I don't like the fact that there's 610 billionaires in the world. Did you know there's 610 billionaires? That's not cool and stuff. The reason I don't like that is because, damn it, not one of them is the real Batman. I'm glad you guys like that. That never works with the Marvel crowd. It's just not good. So, yeah. The other thing I hate those people who drive those cars with those things called roof racks on them. I'm going down the highway, smoking some pot. I see a car rolling up on me. I think it's a fucking cop. You do not need that roof rack. You don't use it for anything. It's not like it's tits and you want them on there. It's a roof rack. It has no purpose. It's simply decoration. Let's give it up for the baby boomers in the room. I guess we got some boomers out here, don't we? Baby boomers? Anybody? Come on. Usually the baby boomers have no problem identifying themselves. We got a couple of boomers back here, right? There we go. Boomers. Give it up for the baby boomers. Baby boomers, you know what? We're a great generation, but we took a lot of shit, did we not, growing up? We were blamed for everything that went wrong in the world. And then along came the millennials. Now they take the blame for everything. And I'm very thankful. So if there's millennials in the room, thank you. It's your fault, damn it. It doesn't mean I understand you, though. I appreciate you for fucking up the world, though. But I don't understand you. Millennials are the type of people who are going to pay $20 for a thing called avocado toast. It's avocado on a toast for $20. Yet they still got to ask their mom and dad for their Netflix password. I don't know. Let's see. So, tell you a little bit about myself. I am a cancer survivor. All right. Thank you. At least I think she was a cancer. I don't know. So, let's just do this. Let's just put this out there. You guys have probably guessed. I've done some drugs. Not yet, anyway. I mean, unless, I did a lot of drugs when I was a kid. It's a lot different today. Kids today are doing some messed up stuff. I just don't get it. I don't know if you follow it, but they do these things where they take Tide Pods, or they're using wasp spray, or they do this shit where they're snorting condoms. Have you guys seen this one? It's messed up, man. Let me take a minute and share a little bit with you. I'm going to set this right here. They do this thing with condoms. They get this condom out, and they're going to open it up, and they unroll the condom. And it's not really that long, I don't think. And then they take the condom, and they're just going to snort this thing right on up. And it's going to get to the end there, and it's going to do the little flappy thing. Now they're walking around with a latex condom in their nose. And this is when it gets weird. Because now they're going to do this thing where they go, and what they're trying to do is snot the condom out of the roof of their mouth. Like a cat kicking up a fur ball. All right? And this is what they're doing to get high. Kids, let me tell you, I've used a condom before. You don't feel a goddamn thing. Do some fucking drugs like we did when I was a kid. Your life will be all right. Actually, I have to admit, today is a special day. Is it not May 10th? Am I right today? May 10th? May 11th? That's awesome. May 11th, today. I've been clean actually for 31 days. Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, you should give that applause to my plumber because he finally fixed my bathroom. But I guess it counts, right? No, when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of drugs. Actually, I like to use a technical term, a shitload. It is a technical term for dope heads. I used to do a shitload of cocaine. As it goes when you do cocaine, your friends, give it up for cocaine, guys. Go ahead. Give it up for cocaine. The white devil. Yeah. Good shit. So yeah, when you do a shitload of cocaine, people are going to worry about you. My friends, my family, they worried. And I always told them you have nothing to worry about. I just do all this fucking cocaine because it smells so damn good. I did really, really well with my cocaine habit until this one day when I made this one mistake. It only takes one day and the whole house of cards just comes tumbling down. And it's the day I got messed up with this thing called, it's called Instagram. Oh, you've heard of it, huh? I thought it was a cocaine delivery service. Just doesn't really work that way. I am looking to write some new jokes about cocaine. I'm just a few lines away. Anybody can help me, Good. Well, when it goes that you do a shitload of cocaine, you know what happens? You end up in rehab. That was a good time. Anybody here ever done that gig? We'll save that for another day. So I got out of rehab to find that my wife of 20 years had left me. Boy, you guys are a heartless bastard bunch of people. Not a single one of the whole goddamn group. I got out of rehab to find my wife of 20 years had left me. That was your second chance, guys. Aww. No, not now. No, not now. That's anyway, cheap. I won't, no. Doesn't really help the heart. So, I got out of rehab, well, you know what happened. But she left me. No. We're going to move on now, guys. We're going to move on. This is the part where we go on now. Or we'll just get fucking stuck there, all right? And then nothing happens, you know. It's just kind of will go downhill real quick. But no, she left me for a woman. Well, that was. You know, I had all those feelings, the awe, the yeah, and everything. I'm like, you know, first thing I'm thinking is like, yeah, we're gonna, yeah. So I muster it up and I say, well, honey, you know what? Why don't you just let me come along with you? I'll just sit in the corner like little Jack Horner, beating my curds and whey. She looks at me and says, no way. So you know what happens. A couple of us, we've heard, we're divorced, went through the divorce process. You know what you got to do? You got to get a lawyer. That's what it is. You just have to in this day and age. Found my lawyer using Groupon. I don't know, maybe it was all that cocaine. Went through the whole process, you know, the divorce process, and there is a point in the process where you go through this thing called the division of marital assets. She gets this, and I get that. I, like the other gentleman, got stuck with the fucking family van. Woo! Dab. Chick magnet. I mean, this is the vehicle that we would take on family vacations. There was like, you know, Cheerios stuck in the seats, and the Band-Aids with that little red scabby thing with a little piece of flesh still on it. You know, yeah. You know? Of course, on the back of the van is all the stickers. I don't understand what it is with the women and the stickers on the back of the van. You have all these symbols and shapes and stars and moons and clovers. Felt like I'm driving around a box of friggin' Lucky Charms. It's really not magically delicious. Of course, you know what else is on the back of the window? The stick figure family. I don't have to explain to you. You know what I'm talking about, right? So after the divorce, I mean, that's basically a lie. I got to do something about that. That's not going to work. So one night after dinner, I get a razor blade and a ski mask and a rubber glove. And I go out there slowly and methodically, with great forethought, remove the head of the stick figure wife off the back of the van. But I didn't stop there. I continued to disembody the remaining pieces off the back of the van. And when I was done, I neatly stuffed all those pieces into the baggie. Took it out back, dug a nice hole, threw that bitch in there, covered it back up, stamped that dirt down. Don't want any wild animals digging that shit up. Wiped everything down with bleach. I took all my clothes off and burned them because I watched way too much NCIS. Feeling a lot better though. My friends say, Chris, hang in there. You'll meet somebody special. And I'll tell you, it was tough. I didn't think I was. It was tough. You know, I needed to meet somebody special because I need a reason to be sleeping on the sofa at night. You that don't laugh at that or happily married, fuck you. No, I did meet a nice young lady. She's very good to me. She's very, very nice. You know, take a minute. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my girlfriend, I guess, you know. Actually, she was over at the house today, and my 16-year-old daughter was there with me. And, well, I'm going to tell you a little story about my 16-year-old daughter, I think, first. My 16-year-old daughter was outside the other day playing in the yard. It was a great day we had over in Wayne County. The sun was out. The birds were chirping. There was butterflies in the yard, and I'm outside drinking a beer, smoking a cigar. And I look over, she caught a little butterfly, and she had ripped the wings off of it. And I'm like, Holly, what are you doing? That's not cool. I said, butterflies are beautiful, you know. They pollinate, and they provide aesthetic beauty to our nature and everything. I said, for you to learn a lesson, I'm going to say you get no butter. No butter for a week, okay, for taking the wings off the butterfly. The next day she's outside, and another beautiful day in Northeast Ohio. We were very blessed. But she's out there, and there was a honeybee, and she's killing that honeybee. And I'm caught her, I'm like, well, Holly, that's not cool. You can't do that, Holly. Come on. We already talked about this with the butterfly. You know what? That's a honeybee. 1 week, no honey. No honey. She wasn't happy. She likes the honey on the toast. Today we're at the house. My 16-year-old daughter's there, Holly. My girlfriend's over. You know, I had that unfortunate thing happen where a cockroach went scurrying across the floor. My girlfriend went and just stepped right on it. My daughter looked up at me and said, "Dad, are you telling her or am I?" Hey, I gotta let you guys in on a little secret. Who comes out here often? We got any regulars out here? A couple of us. So a lot of you are first timers, or at least you're not gonna say anyway. So I'm gonna give you a little secret, a little insight to the comedy scene here. You know, we're supposed to come up and manage our time, be professional, and be aware of what's going on, respectful. You know, don't want me up here talking all night. You know, you guys eventually want to go home. So we have this thing they give you the light. So from the back of the room, they flash a little light. And basically what that means is I've got like a minute to wrap it up. So I got to watch for the light. Sometimes I miss it. So if somebody else sees it, you know, let me know. Sometimes I just see lights flashing everywhere. I don't know. So, but that's that. So, I do travel a lot. I get to go out and travel to do comedy. I'm very lucky. I was recently in Florida. Anybody here ever been to Florida? Show of hands. People usually show for that one. They're not ashamed to show that they've been to Florida. It's a beautiful place down there. I don't know if you had the same experience I had in Florida, but they've got this stuff called, it's called sunshine. It's fucking everywhere. What are we doing in Ohio? I don't know. The other thing they have in Florida that really freaked me out is they've got bugs. They do. Have you been there? You seen that? They got bugs. They got big bugs in Florida, man. The bugs in Florida are so big they could fuck a turkey. Okay, maybe not that kind of crowd. Okay.
Unless they land on your shoulder in the shower.
Yeah, that's a nasty one, isn't it? They got big ass spiders down there too. Florida's a rough one. Hey guys, let's take a minute and give it up for our host tonight, Gina. What a great job. She was very nice to have you out. Mark behind the bar. Yeah, Mark. Yeah. Give it up for Legends and all you guys out here. Legends, yeah. So, let's see. I'm hearing Christmas bells. I don't know, or maybe the mushrooms are kicking in. Either way, it's good. Let's see, so. I have no idea what I talked about last. So. About what? The what? The cot?
Cockroach.
The cockroach, yeah. We did the timer thing, didn't we? I had to make sure I watch for that light. So, all right, I'll tell you another little thing about my girlfriend. Pretty cool. You know, usually when I go out, well, almost always, well, she never does it, really. She just doesn't go on the road with me to shows. She stays at home. By the time I get home, it's late, and she's sound asleep and stuff. But this one weekend, I was going to New York City, and she wanted to go to New York City with me. And I'm like, well, sure, I guess I'd love to have you come along, honey, you know? And we're driving from Ohio to New York, and obviously you have to drive through Pennsylvania to get there. Now, I don't know. Have any of you ever driven through the state of Pennsylvania? I mean, wow, man. That's a long one and very rough terrain. Well, we were traveling through Pennsylvania, and we got onto the highway, had a detour. And we had to get off the highway, and we're on a backcountry road now, going through Pennsylvania. Now, have you been on backcountry roads in Pennsylvania? I mean, wow, okay. So you know what I'm talking about, the hills and the curves with the hills and all of that. So we're on this backcountry road driving it, and the sun's starting to go down. And, you know, we come up over this hill with a curve and stuff, and the next thing I know, I hit a fucking turkey. Goddamn feathers went flying everywhere. Now, my girlfriend, probably like most of you guys' girlfriend, is one of those women with a big heart. I looked over, and I could see instantly the tears were starting to well in the eye. She pulls in a big breath. We're going to stop and pull over and check and see what happened to this turkey. So that's what we do. I put the car in reverse. We get out, and there's this turkey on the side of the road. It's not dead. It's doing that thing, you know? She looks at me. She's like, you know, we got to find a vet. I'm like, honey, it's a turkey. We're on the country of Pennsylvania. She's like, there's got to be a vet out here, honey. So we load the turkey up, and we put it in the car. We're going down the road, and she looks at me and says, honey, I don't know if this thing's going to make it. It's shaking. It's cold. I said, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just put it between your legs and just hold it? She looks at me and says, but it stinks. I said to her, if you hold the turkey's nose, it'll never notice. You guys having a good time?
Yeah.
You guys are good crowds. You guys are a good crowd, man. I'd come back and play with you anytime, so. Well, not like that. Well, maybe that one guy back there. I don't know. Oh, no, not you? All right, forget it then. Hey, tell you a little bit more about myself. I was raised by people who are cheap. My family wasn't poor. They were cheap. Cheap is a decision your parents make to fuck up your life. They did a pretty damn good job, Mom and Dad. Now, my family was so cheap that my mother decided that she was going to breastfeed me until I was 6 years old. Actually, that's not true. That's a lie. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that. That's not true. Mom was one of those people, she thought breastfeeding was weird. She didn't want anything to do with it. So they had my father breastfeed me. That explains a lot. Being born into a cheap family, I was glad to be born a boy, because that way I always had something to play with. That's right, that's a dick joke. That is a dick joke. I don't normally do dick jokes, because, well, every time I touch one, I just end up blowing it. Being raised by a cheap family, you know what? You usually end up living in a cheap little town. And that's exactly where I grew up, a cheap little town. My town was so cheap.
How was it?
You guys are awesome, man. This is a great place, man. I mean, not everybody can do that. That's awesome. Yeah, my town was so cheap that our we didn't have a hospital, we just have a first aid kit. My town's so cheap that our high school mascot is roadkill. I don't know. I could go on about cheap towns. I don't know. We should do something else with that. So let's see. Okay, I'm probably getting pretty close. It looks like on the time. Am I right, Gina?
Yeah, get close.
All right, we'll see that.
20 minutes.
Another 20?
No, you're at 20.
I'll do another 20, man. We can back it up. All right, you guys want another 20 or no? We got to go home, don't we? I got a 2-hour drive, so yeah. I'll tell you another story about my girlfriend. How about? Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, as I already told you, she doesn't usually come out to the gigs with me. Last night I was in Cleveland, and when I came home after the show, I pulled on the street, and I'm like, oh, shit, the light's on in the bedroom. That doesn't happen. That's not good. I pull into the driveway. We got one of those man doors next to the garage. I can see her in the door waiting for me. I'm really not, this isn't going to be good. So I get in and I open the door, and thank goodness she was excited to see me. It was something good and stuff. And she's like all excited. She's like, honey, I got this great idea. Been waiting for you all night. I'm like, well, what's going on? She's like, I want to help you with your stand-up comedy. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. Why don't we start treating our sex life like a comedy show? I don't know what you mean. You want to treat our sex life like a comedy show? She's like, yeah. I'll give you a light when you got a minute to finish. Oh, that's not really the worst part. What really sucks is being like the 4th or 5th guy to go up every night. But she's there for me. She's there for me, you know. Yeah. Hey, you guys have been wonderful, man. I really enjoyed myself with you. If you liked any of this, check me out on Facebook or Twitter, The Bitter Dude. Don't look for me on Instagram. I already made that mistake. So, yeah. Also, I run a production company, Funny Noises Productions. Look for that. I got some information. I've been in a number of movies, TV shows. I got a new TV show coming out on FX this year. They're dropping some some teasers on YouTube. So if you got an interest, I can give you a card to where you can go and see what it is. If you like the weird stuff that FX is doing, like that new one, Out of the Shadows, or Sunny in Philadelphia, this is going to be right up your alley, obviously, all right? So, again, you guys were fantastic. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed me. If you didn't, you know what? Fuck off. Your validation doesn't mean anything to me. Thank you very much.
Keep it going. for Chris Ketler. You know, us ladies with smelly vaginas, that's why you're always blowing it. All right, guys, did you guys have a good time tonight?
Yeah!
You guys want to do this again?
Yeah!
All right, well, we are going to do it again, and we are going to keep you guys posted, so check out Legends' Facebook page, check out our Facebook page. We'll have another event coming up very soon. Keep your guys' butts in the seats and drinks coming, because we got Acoustic Groove coming up. You guys have a wonderful night. You've been a great audience.
Yeah!